Hail Satan! Hail Satan, everybody! Woo!
Oh,
Hail Satan!
We're going to be talking about the devil.
Damn.
Going down to dear good old Georgia. Because I think the devil went down there. And he brought some property. And yes.
And he decided that that's where he's going to start investing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, why there, I don't know.
Property value can only go up.
And he's doing pretty well these days, I hear.
Yeah. Hey, I was thought about too, if hell had like central air conditioning, I'd be fine going there. I'm like, yeah, it's hot, but oh, go ahead.
No, go.
I mean,
they have really great drinks.
They would. I mean, come on now. All your favorite celebrities would be there. I mean, come on now.
Excuse me.
Where else would you want to be? I mean, shit. Oh.
Yes.
This podcast may contain adult language, adult situations, spoilers, and some brief nudity, so parental guidance is suggested.
We have such sights to show you.
After about 5 minutes of this movie, you're gonna wish you had 10 beers.
There's such. And there are many gifts in the world and many Toms as well. But I am Sancho.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Listen, I made a great reporter out of you, Hildy, but you won't be half as good on any other paper, and you know it. We're a team, that's what we are. You need me, and I need you, and the paper needs
all Americans.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Oh, well. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
Welcome back to the Cinema Recall Podcast. Hello, everyone. This is Cinema Recall, kind of doing a special episode here. Donnie, our guest, is one of our $10 Patreon tiers, and I fucking love you so much. And he gets to choose an episode of his choosing to talk about. It could be about anything. It doesn't even have to be about movies. It could just be about his favorite toilet or his favorite carpets. I mean, anything with the world. Hello, everyone. I'm the Vern here, as you all know here. And my guests are the co-hosts, the hosts of the Cage's Kiss podcast. I got Donnie and Linda. Say hello to everyone out there.
Hello.
Greetings, all.
We are just diving into the show. Today we're talking about John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. This was Donnie's pick. But before we get into John Carpenter, I want to talk a little bit more with Linda and Donnie. Now, you may have heard Linda and Donnie during our Night of the Living Dead audio drama. Donnie played the role of Ben in there. Linda played the role of the telephone operator in the scene. And both wonderful voice actors, and I hope to have them back on very soon. But for our listeners that don't know, and you may have heard Donnie on our episode talking about Meet the Feebles a little while back.
Yeah.
But yes, just for our listeners out there right now, Donnie, just tell them a little bit more about Cage's Kiss. What's going on with the Cage's Kiss podcast?
Well, we're kind of wrapping down here on the Cage's Kiss, and we just, as of yesterday, finished off the history of curse words. If I'm saying the title right, Linda?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. History of swear words. Yeah.
Yes, we learned all about the naughty words, hosted by Nicolas Cage over on Netflix. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we've had some rumblings going on. We've got a new podcast heading out that we're going to be introducing people to shortly, I believe. And otherwise, it's been a very awesome trip. We really have had a lot of fun doing things. And we've been pretty damn busy, which is really nice.
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful. Are you guys going to be tackling a new type of star?
Linda?
Can you share? Or is this going to be a surprise? Should I hold off on this? Should I?
Oh, no.
No, I think it's not like a big special reveal. We're just going to be covering movies in general, but we're going to have a theme that we cover each month.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be pretty fun. And from what we're supposed to be doing here, we're going to be each of us picking a movie each week that we then watch And at the end of the month, we're going to be deciding which of these best fit the genre that we picked, or the theme, rather.
And the winner gets a little special little statue that we're.
Yes, actually, that's something I actually wish I had prepared a little bit more for, but thankfully I am up on my toilet technology. Is that if I knew I could have talked about that, the winner gets a Numi 2.0 intelligent toilet. It is a very high-tech smart toilet. Yes,
I knew this podcast would be about toilets. Perfect, yes.
Yes, it even has colored lights, so at night you don't have to worry about where it is when you're going. So
I always want to take a shit at a rave.
Exactly. They kind of frown upon it though, so this is better for
well, I don't. I'm not saying I would take a shit on the dance floor, but I always wanted to go to a rave where there's like lights going on and a bunch of with like flashing lights everywhere when I'm like taking a dump, because that's like the best way to like clean your bowels.
You gotta have atmosphere.
Yes,
that's what I think every time. It's like, I gotta take a shit right here. Oh, this ambiance. Like, you can't beat that.
That bass right there really, like, really loosens up your bowels right there. So shit. Well, that's cool. So can like listeners win this prize of the toilet?
Well, I'm not gonna. If they donate enough to our Patreon, everyone that participates can afford a Newbie 2.0 intelligent toilet.
A Newbie 2.0 intelligent toilet.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Any horror fans in the house? It's Riley on Film. Horror film reviews twice a week. My listeners are bound and tied to have a good time with me exploring films like The Omen, High Tension, and Vivarium. Subscribe to Riley on Film on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere that you get your podcast.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Do you like movie podcasts hosted by inebriated people? That's guy with the cracking voice and Heather's touched by evil. One thinks he's Spider-Man, the other is a ninja. It's the Man I Love Film podcast, it's the Milkcast.
Hey everybody, I'm Kai.
And I'm Heather.
And we are the hosts of MILFcast, the Man I Love Films podcast, the unofficial official podcast of ManILoveFilms.com. This is the podcast where we like to talk about what we've been watching, talk about movies, but mainly we just like to drink, be silly, and play a whole bunch of games. So we think every other week you should grab a drink, snuggle up, and let us make sweet love to your ears.
Otherwise, we'll make sweet love to your couch.
So come and find us on iTunes. Just search for MILFcast.
This podcast is a proud affiliate of the Let's Chat Podcast Network. Find out how you can become a part of this team by going to letschatpodcast.net and click on the Let's Chat Affiliates tab.
I've got a message for you.
This is the shape of fear.
You're not going to like it.
This is the color of hell.
What is it?
And this is the power of the Prince of Darkness. From John Carpenter, director of Halloween. A vision of the most powerful evil of all. Prince of Darkness.
Where are you?
Rated R. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
All right, well, I kind of want to know more about what makes the toilet so intelligent. But
me too.
Yeah, but we're gonna move on to our topic, which is gonna be Prince of Darkness. And since this was your pick, Donnie, I'm gonna put the reins over to you. All right, I've got this horse here, and I don't know exactly what to do with it, so I'm gonna give you the horse, and you can run with this. Let's talk about it. Prince of Darkness, John Carpenter. Why did you pick this?
I'm gonna name this horse Chauncey.
Chauncey.
The reason I picked
it is a fancy horse.
Is that good?
I'll live with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, for the record, my car's name is Mancelot, and I call him Mancy for short. So.
Mancelot.
Yeah. The most manliest of cars.
I kind of want to hit on your car, you know.
I don't blame you.
With with you there, I'm gonna do a whole cultural card thing.
Wow. Let's ditch this loser.
Speaking of Jesus, the reason I picked this movie is, I love John Carpenter films and I love Kurt Russell films, and thankfully the two of those go together so well. But a lot of people I found through the many years growing up, very, very few have actually heard of Prince of Darkness. And it's one of Carpenter's few films that really does get overlooked, I feel. But it's also had a struggle getting out on Blu-ray as well. And it's not until recently that it actually got a 4K treatment that came out. So I was really super excited to pick that up. And it's also, I know way too much about Carpenter than I should. It's kind of part of two trilogies that he did. It's part of a End of the World Apocalypse trilogy he did. And it's also one of the 3 return to low budget films he did. Because anyone that knows Carpenter knows he's had a real trials and tribulations thing and a love-hate with studios in Hollywood. So to kind of relax himself, he decides to go back and do low budget films now and then, or at least he used to. And this, along with The Fog and They Live, was one of those low-budget films he did. And like a lot of his films, it failed horribly at the box office, but once it came out on video, it found a huge following. But more so than that, the story itself is what I really enjoyed about this. And it's kind of like showing people The Thing for the first time. It's just one of those things I love seeing their reaction, just because Carpenter has a way with stories that he likes to take a concept, and especially with horror films, and try to find an original way to present it or give it a spin that he hasn't seen yet.
Yeah.
And in that case, yeah, go ahead.
No, but if you know, it's in the spin it there, but you talked about the Apocalypse trilogy, because I think this goes like The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness.
Yep.
Are the 3 movies made with this one here. Yep. And you talked about this movie being kind of a box office bomb. Actually, this movie did better than Big Trouble in Little China, which was his movie he made before this one. That one was a kind of both a critical and financial bomb, and John Carpenter was so frustrated with 20th Century Fox, kind of like taking the reins, taking away his control of the movie in a way, that he just wanted to work independently. That's why he situated himself with actors that he already worked with before. He worked with Donald Pleasance before on Halloween, and he worked with Victor Wan and Dennis Dunn from Big Trouble in Little China to have them come back for this feature. And there's not really that many sets. Most of the special effects were done in camera. But I just wanted to kind of mention that really quick, because I've got a few notes here and there about this.
Well, I was going to say, I also believe a lot of the locations they used were from his old college, too.
Yeah, I think the college is UFC.
Yeah.
Film college.
Yeah, University of Southern California.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Here to help.
But go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say the budget for this film was $3 million. And yeah, like you had said, he had made Big Trouble in Little China, which it's sad to really think that it was such a failure when it came out, considering just how wonderful the film actually is.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. But, again, it's just one of those, like a lot of his films. It's kind of, the concept's there. It's just that at the time, it seems, it really just didn't have an audience. But also, this thing, unlike the movie The Thing, did not have to go up against the idea of fighting for the box office against E.T.
It's true.
That still cracks me up. It's like your choice is either watching a cute, cuddly alien movie with family or watching an alien rip dogs apart. So kind of they made their choice.
I don't know why families don't want to see that.
Yeah. That's kind of like, again, it's the story of this I really enjoyed, just because Carpenter really had a fond, I want to say, hobby for quantum mechanics, and especially for quantum theory. And that's kind of what scared him a bit the more he read on that. And that's kind of where he went with this story, because it came from a concept from Deborah Hill at the time, who had a dream about this. And she had a dream of a dark figure coming out of a church, and she just scared the bejesus out of her. And he decided, okay, that's a good concept. I can go ahead and work with that. And he decided to start working in the quantum mechanics aspect of it. And just, again, I really like the unique approach on that. Instead of just flat out saying, hey, this is good versus evil, it's like it's a little bit more that, because he didn't want it to be like they're bringing Satan back. It's kind of the son of Satan, like an antichrist of his own making.
Yeah, there's not like in most horror movies, there's like this entity of evil. You did it before with The Shape and Halloween, and even like The Fog. But this one, it's a little bit confusing. I mean, this was my first time watching this movie. I have never seen. I remember the trailers with the canister of like green goo, and when I was a kid, I just thought, oh, the Ghostbusters, they capture slime. Yeah. We're good. I don't need to worry.
That's what I said. Oh, look, it's ectoplasm.
Yeah, it's like I don't need to worry about this anymore. That green canister, by the way, that was just a lava lamp.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you to Cecil Trachtenberg from Good Bad Flicks for giving me a lot of trivia about the making of this movie, which is most of my facts come from. So thank you for that. A little shout out there. What is this movie about, Donnie?
Well, that's kind of the interesting fun part. Is it's after you get through, I think, God, it was what, 10, 12 minutes of opening credits.
Yeah, they did like all the credits.
Almost 10.
Yeah. And it's funny because even during that, it's like it's slowly unraveling without really any dialogue, this background for the story, which is that a small church in this rundown town ends up being this huge secret of the church that has contained basically the essence of evil. And they're trying to keep it secret. They're trying to keep it safe, but at the same time, they want to confirm actually what is in this. And that's the interesting part of the concept, is trying to fuse science with religion and actually saying, okay, let's prove the existence of this. Because if this is in fact what we think it is, then by proxy you can say that there is actually good and evil. There is a heaven, there is a hell. And during the process of this, evil finds a way to set itself free from this canister, which I believe they even said there's no outside locks. They're all from the inside of the canister.
Yeah, I really thought that they were just trying to hide Maroon 5's Net CD.
Yes. It's very possible.
I could have sworn that's what they're trying to do. Okay, maybe not. All right, go ahead.
But yeah, evil breaks loose eventually, and it starts zombifying, taking over. I think it takes over 3 people total. And as it does, one of these unfortunate people, she ends up Susan. I was like, oh God, I forgot who she was. But Susan ends up the uncaring host for the apocalypse child in her belly. And she has to find a way to bring her father, an evil being, out from the underworld, which is a very, very fun scene when that actually gets to come close to happening. Spoilers.
Oh no, we don't complain at all about spoilers on here. I
was just gonna add, the scene with that when she's reaching through the mirror is like both my most favorite, but also when you realize how they did it, just cringy moments.
Yeah.
Oh, they put a lot of good makeup work in this movie. I won't deny that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, do you know what they used to create the mirror effect?
I think mercury something or.
Yes, they emptied the mercury from their gear into a little collection to make it look reflect. They're like, wow, mercury looks very reflective. That could be cool for a mirror.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's just open that up and then very, very cautiously put it all back so we don't kill anyone.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Well, and he used a prosthetic for the arm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not it's not her putting her hand in mercury.
Not fun, but
yeah.
I mean, does it burn your hand? I'm not quite sure what mercury does. I never actually played on mercury.
Mercury is highly poisonous. It can cause blindness, death, and if you get it on
insanity.
Yes, and insanity.
Oh
yes.
shit.
And that's actually was a concern for lighthouse keepers way back in the days. They actually had to fill the lights with mercury and put in the fuel and such. That's why they had special gear to handle that, because it could cause insanity.
Oh,
and
shit.
they used to use it in the creation of like top hats, and that's why they have the phrase "Mad as a Hatter."
Yeah, because they put it inside the band of the hat. And it's one of those that the more exposure you get to that. And it's kind of the same thing that happened with photographers, too. Because back then, your lab for photography was a wagon. You just put your head inside the space with a hood over it, and you're essentially breathing in all these chemical fumes. So
man, I tell you, all this stuff was fun.
Yeah.
Got to breathe in all these toxic chemicals.
That's what we do to prepare for Cage's Kiss.
Okay.
I don't want to say what
much mercury,
but
it's about the same there. Well, this movie, Prince of Darkness, its main theme seems to be more like science kind of versus religion, because I know that Donald Pleasance plays this priest, because at the beginning of the movie you have this older priest who has this like steel canister on his chest, and I can tell by the scene that he's gonna die, and he does, and Don Pleasance's character takes the canister, finds out, he's like, there's like this religious sect that's been keeping this canister guarded as a secret for several years, it seems like, several thousands of years, and through some stuff happened with the sun and the moon, stuff with nature, it's awaken this creature, but because of people's sort of like reliance on science, no one seems to like worry about this creature stirring and being born. So Don Pleasance finds this sort of like college, this set of college studying quantum physics and whatnot. Teacher is played by Victor Wan. And he basically hires them to translate this book so that if people know that this entity is real, then they'll take it more seriously. But here's what confused me. If this thing has been locked up for so many years, and it's still kind of like locked up, despite all the, it's being awoken, but it's locked in a church. I mean, what good was translating that book going to do? That's what I kind
of. Donald Pleasance's character doesn't have a name; it's just the priest. Yeah. And I saw somebody's comment refer to him as Father Loomis.
Oh God, Father.
I like that. It just got it stuck.
Which is true, because he is kind of like playing that character in a way, just in a priest uniform. I just want to have a freak out moment. I saw it. I saw it. I'm gonna do a horrible Donald Pleasance impersonation there. Sorry, I apologize about that, folks. It was here. The evil is here. It's gone now.
Does Donald Pleasance ever suck? I don't think so.
Even in the what was it, American Rickshaw?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh God, you've got to see it. He does an impersonation of a pig when he gets possessed at some point. It's hilarious. It's
really? Boy.
Oh. Yeah. Oh. So we got this.
I'm looking it up now.
This cast characters now. One of the actors in this, I think, Jameson Parker, who is just wearing like this awesome mustache. I believe that's the guy. That's like one of the main guys in this movie, right?
Yeah.
The Brian. Yeah. I'm not quite sure about this though, but I'm pretty sure he was. If Kurt Russell was going to play a role, it would be this.
Pretty much.
But he had that rockin' 80s stash.
Oh,
totally. He really was happy with that stash.
Oh, he was.
And his character was a creeper, man.
Oh, the way he kind of flirted with Catherine's character. Yeah, the character played by Lisa Blount.
Quote unquote flirting.
Yeah, and he was waiting for her outside a building. I was like, girl, get away from that dude. Isn't the stash enough to tell you don't trust this guy? Go, just go.
Apparently not right there. Most of these actors in this movie, I mean, apparently that Jameson Parker was the lead in that show Simon and Simon, which I have never seen before. So I apologize.
Me neither.
In fact, both the actors here, like the girl that gets possessed, like the girl that's like gonna have the baby or whatnot there, I thought I saw her in other things, but I looked up her IMDb. I'm like, nope, have not. She appeared. That actor's name is, I believe, Susan Blanchard, and I looked up her IMDb credits on there, and she was in They Live and a few other shows, but she just has that face. I'm like, I'm sure you've been an extra on other things, but you just didn't want to let me know that you were an extra on there. I do, like I said, I do love the fact that you have Victor Wan and Dennis Dunn from Big Trouble in Little China. And for me, this movie could be kind of like a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China.
Almost.
They're
a very dark sequel.
Well, true, but they're not like it still has to do with like mysticalism and whatnot, and they're just gonna do a whole new adventure. I just wanted to see Jack Burton in this. I really want to have a Jack Burton in this movie.
I just always want to see him. I have a song for him.
I mean, at the end of Big Trouble in Little China, when he's driving off in his truck, he does have the demon creature in the back. So, I mean, there's kind of an evil tie there.
There's a tie right there, but I just want to have just some sort of, like, snarky attitude of everything going around, like, some sort of, like, someone kind of, like, breaking the fourth wall or just having some, like, weird comments on there, because apparently after the scientists get into this church and they're set up all their equipment and whatnot, the Susan Blanchard character bumps her arm into something, then suddenly she has like this image on her arm, which I thought was just like a cross for some reason. And then one of the girls, I had a hard time like writing down a character's name, so I wrote down like this nerdy girl goes into the basement where the evil goo is, and the evil goo is somehow is able to like put its goo on the ceiling. And like, was that happening for a while? Because it seems like that goo was on that ceiling for quite some time, but the canister was like slowly dripping glue on the ceiling, and I'm pretty sure they have to have someone in the church check on the glue every once in a while, like a janitor of some sort. But hey, how's the glue doing? And here's the thing too: did no one think about trying positive reinforcements? Because remember that glue from Ghostbusters 2?
Yes.
It had all.
Be kind to it.
It was all negative, but you gotta play some Sam Cooke.
Yeah. Did you sleep with the goo?
Yeah. Maybe the goo is just feeling frustrated because no one has slept with it.
Yeah.
And I've got to say that actress Anne-Marie Howard, who played Susan Cabot, Donnie, that's probably where you were supposed to say who.
Well, I'm still trying to remember who she is.
Throughout the whole movie, anytime like somebody would be like, "Have you seen Susan?" They'd go, "Who?" The one with the glasses.
Yeah.
It was so sad. So bad.
Nobody knew who the fuck she was except for Dirk Blocker. But she actually played a co-anchor in The Weatherman with our dude Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
She did. Oh, wow.
Their boy. Yeah. So we have another connection here. And it has Dirk Blocker from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Nine-Nine.
Oh.
And he's looking sexy as hell. And I have to say, I have to give props to Carpenter for being a director in the 80s who had 3 Asian actors and didn't make any of them use a stupid accent.
Yeah. I hear that a lot from people when they're talking about Big Trouble in Little China. They're saying that movie is a negative representation of Asian culture, which I just never saw at all. I mean, it just seems that everyone was working together, and I like the fact too that he doesn't really make mention of it. He just treats the characters as like everyone else, and it's not part of the plot or anything. It's just like, hey, here are these guys who are of Asian descent, and okay, we can move on from this. We're not making this an actual statement here.
Except for Walter's joke of, you could almost pass for Asian.
Oh, that one, yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
I love that he didn't make them have like Asian characters. They're just characters, and I really, it's sad, but it's rare to see in the 80s.
Yeah, true. I think it's great that it's an actual Asian character saying that to another Asian character. I think that makes it more fun, in my opinion. There, yes. We also should mention too that this movie has famed rock star Alice Cooper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you happen to know how he became part of the cast?
I do, because John Carpenter saw Alice Cooper at a live show, and he saw him impaling someone with a mic stand, and he's like, hey, that was kind of cool. Could we have you do the same sort of effect?
Yeah.
But this time with a bicycle.
Yeah. And that's actually funny because Alice Cooper he used his own prop. And it's really funny because, like you mentioned, he saw him at a live show, but he actually got to talk to Cooper at a WrestleMania. And
really?
Yeah, they were both there at the WrestleMania, and he met Cooper backstage, and Cooper's like, man, I'd love to be on set to one of your films one day. And as it so turned out, one of the producers that worked on Prince of Darkness also was managing Alice Cooper. So they were able to work getting him on set, and then that's when Carpenter's like, hey, we got this part for a psychotic bum I would love for you to play, and we want you to kill someone with your bike. And we got a prop we can make for it. He's like, no, I'll just bring my own. So that's what he did. He used his stage prop from his shows. And like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, is this also where John Carpenter met Roddy Roddy Piper? Is in WrestleMania for They Live?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
It's one of those, he'd been wanting to work with him for a while, and it's kind of funny because John Carpenter and also Stephen King were huge fans of wrestling way back in the day, and they'd regularly attended a couple of the big WrestleMania events.
I fucking love They Live.
Also, like Linda was mentioning, the woman we keep forgetting the name of, Susan, she Carpenter actually had to point out, and I love this about his films. Whenever you listen to his commentaries, he barely remembers anything about his films. But it's like the most wonderful thing because he does it kind of as a troll whenever he has other actors on there, because then he lets them take the stories and go, oh, wow, yeah, that's right. It's just kind of funny, but he mentioned that Joe Bob Briggs showed Prince of Darkness on his old show back on TNT. I think it was the TNT Monster Vision.
Yeah, I think it was.
And he actually had mentioned that Susan was actually the Lee Press-On Nails girl. She was the main model they used for that back then. And I guess that was what she did before this. And they kind of teased the fact that even on set, the woman herself, she's just like the nicest, sweetest, soft-spoken person. And that's why a couple people just looked at him oddly and was like, you're going to be the mother of the Antichrist. Yeah. we're just gonna fuck your face up. Like, why would you do this? Like, because I can.
Oh no.
Oh no, the mother of the Antichrist was Kelly Susan Blanchard.
Yes.
Not the nerdy girl, not the
no. Oh God, no.
The red hair. Yeah, the
Susan.
Yes. But also the character played by Anne-Marie Howard. She was like kind of one of the first ones to be possessed.
And,
yeah.
Here's one thing too. So like she gets possessed, and then she spits her green goo on other people, and that person just gets possessed. But for some reason, the character of Kelly, she's the one that gets her face, looks like it's all like burnt. She would have been like a great girlfriend for Freddy Krueger.
It could have worked.
Near the end of that, I mean, yeah, she probably would have been better off because there's someone that knows his pain right there, and that would have been a great little love triangle. So I was just kind of confused, like, well, why does she get to be the one to be all deformed?
Yeah.
I mean, the other characters, yeah, they're deformed, but not as much as she is.
No.
Basically, when I was watching this film, I just saw one person getting possessed, and then they find another person, and then they possess that person, all while they're trying to translate this book because to make sense of the fact that I'm like agnostic and I was raised by atheist parents. Most movies that have to do with like the devil and whatnot or sense of evil never really affected me much as other people. Like The Exorcist never really. I was like, man, that girl's gotta get just better makeup. Just put some makeup on her. She'll be fine. All right, just. I mean,
Maybe you're dehydrated.
Yeah, like all the like the toxic things she talks about and everything like that. That's like most like message boards out there. I mean, so
yeah,
I can't really see anything wrong with it. So the whole thing about this devil coming back or like this green goo that comes out, and even the image because they all the scientists in this are most likely having the same nightmare of this creature as it's in a church. I'm like, yeah, but they're moving really kind of slow. I mean, you could just close the door and lock it.
Nope.
I mean,
well, even with the what do you call it, the homeless people outside, the entire army that Alice Cooper leads. I mean, they're pretty damn slow, except for the grandma who just like charges at the man who's being attacked by bugs and.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a fun shot because I believe they had her on the back of a truck. It was kind of like a similar effect that Hitchcock had used too, and it just has like rushing toward him. If you actually watch it, you can see that she's just hovering. She just kind of flies toward him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the movie does have some like pretty incredible makeup effects. We talked about, and I'm just trying to remember right now the name of that actor who was turned into bugs.
Yeah, he gets one of the creepier scenes and lines in that too.
Yeah, I know that he was like one of the stagehands or person that helps put together the production design, like not the production designer, but someone that actually helps.
There was another actor as well that kind of did similar on set too, and I can't remember his name offhand, but Linda might know. He was the man who was whistling in people's faces, annoying people, and he was in the last Howard Hawks film with John Wayne, Rio Lobo.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about oh, come on.
I know, right? It's like it just had it.
Peter Jason. Dr. Paul Leahy. Peter Jason. Is that it?
I believe it is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in a lot of stuff, but he helped a lot with the making of the film.
Oh, all right. So now that the scientists are kind of like disappearing one at a time, it's kind of funny too that these possessed people are not kind of being quiet about what they're doing, but yet they can still fool these other scientists. Because the other scientists are kind of busy translating the book to the fact that they can't really notice other people disappearing. and if someone disappears, they just automatically think that they're sleeping or taking a nap.
Yeah.
As this person while they're they're probably just sleeping. They're just tired. Like, they've kind of been gone for like a while. Oh, they're sleeping.
Yeah, they have a fountain of goo shooting out of their face. They're fine.
They're fine, yeah.
Have you seen Susan? Who?
I see. Oh.
With the glasses.
With the glasses right there. I think one starts to become wise to it, though, when they start seeing the translation of the computer, like the devil's talking, like, you won't be saved, Pluto won't save you, and whatnot. And I'm like, so the devil's coming into Earth right there, starting to talk about world destruction, like, come on now. In 2020, I'm sure like in 1987, this movie was like, oh, all the evil in the world is going to be coming here. I'm like, look, we live in 2020 now, all right? We've seen evil in the world. So I'm sorry, devil, but give it your worst, I guess, because we've already been kind of like living through kind of apocalypse right now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I saw this movie back in like the 80s, it probably would have been a little bit more terrifying, because I do recall seeing moments of this when I was a kid with that Dreamcaster and not quite sure what was going on, and like people becoming more possessed and acting weird. But seeing it through like a 2020s lens, it's just like, okay, come on, devil. All right, I'm willing to give the devil a shot. I mean, we had Trump for 4 years. Let's give Satan a shot. Why not? It can't be the worst.
Like, wait. Let's hear him out.
Yeah.
Well, if all he needs is to come out through a mirror, it's like, well, that's pretty weak, I guess. I mean, I just gotta cover my mirrors.
Yeah, see.
The Vern's the one in the stand who's like, hold up. Let's not be so quick to judge.
Yeah.
He's just perceived as evil, you guys. Come on.
He may have like a good, sort of like COVID plan. We don't know.
Yes, exactly. He can help us out. Come on, God.
Why would the devil want to like kill all of us? He needs souls, okay? I mean, he wants.
You gotta have workers.
You gotta have workers. Yeah, you don't want to kill them all right away.
Yeah, we have this system called gods and clods. Well, it's funny mentioning the dialogue on the computer they're translating, because everyone at first when they came out, like, oh wow, that's so cool. I wonder where they got it. And Carpenter's like, it was gibberish. It was stuff he wrote. It's like he just came up with this stuff. I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty ancient. Sure, cool.
Yeah.
Let's put that in there. Like, okay, I guess.
I wrote this down too. It's about writing here. So the writer is credited as Martin Quatermass.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a made-up name. John Carpenter actually wrote this.
Yeah.
But it had to do with, like, I think Alan Quatermass.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought for sure that... I looked up the name, and I really thought that there was another writer of, like, Quatermass for Halloween 3.
Yes.
He was, like, one of the original writers of Halloween 3 that both John Carpenter and Deborah Hill produced.
Yeah, and he was uncredited, I believe, for that. That's why I used the pseudonym.
Yes. So, yeah, I just found that to be kind of a neat thing there.
It is, yeah.
So, after, so once, the scientists start to realize of, like, all the evil shit going on there, then they start to, like, spring into action and do their best to fight the characters. There's one sequence where a guy, with the help of his friends, escapes from the window and goes to the street, but then realizes that, Alice Cooper and his, like, homeless brigade are going to kill him, so that he finds a way, with the help of his friends, to get back to there. And I was thinking, why did he try to escape? Couldn't he see them? I mean...
Right?
Yeah.
He could have... I don't know what his plan was. Maybe he did not know. It would be great because the first guy that gets killed is this sort of like nerdy guy, and he leaves work and is like going to go home, and then he stumbles upon Alice Cooper, and for some reason he can't run past them or anything like that. He just ends up getting killed by a bike, which is embarrassing way to die. So the scientists never actually see that. So I don't know why when that one guy does escape, he becomes so scared that he jumps back in. I mean, unless it says something about the 80s and people's fear of homeless people, which made sense, because people.
But I do love your phrase, homeless brigade.
They were a homeless brigade. I mean,
well,
I expect them to be musical.
Well, Alice Cooper.
Kind of, yeah, you could have let him. Oh gosh, that's even another thing too that carried on from Alice Cooper, because it's a little known fact about him. He was one of the first rockers to actually include one of his songs in a movie, and the first one was "Man Behind the Mask" in Friday the 13th. Jason Lives.
Yes.
And also in this one, one of the men who's killed.
Behind the mask. And he's out of control. I remember buying that 45. I've never seen Jason Lives, but I bought the 45 with that song.
Dude, that is awesome.
I wish I still had it.
Oh man, but even in this one, one of the people that's killed, I believe it's the nerdy guy. Someone had their headphones on, and they were listening to Prince of Darkness by Alice Cooper. And it was just kind of a funny little sneaked in song of his. But
why did the song play during the end credits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always do that in 80s movies.
Exactly, right? But something that Carpenter does, and I guess this is why a lot of actors love working with him, is aside his sets are always very laid back and very relaxed, especially with Deborah Hill. He always writes little notes and such in background for his characters, and he gives this to everyone. So it's kind of like this is how I envisioned you. And there's Donald Pleasance was one of the characters as well in this, and there was two of the professors that he wrote specifically these parts for. And everyone had something in mind that they didn't share with everyone else. Like Alice Cooper being the leader, he was a psychotic bum at first. He was schizophrenic. And even though it's not mentioned in the movie, he said all the homeless people that he recruited, they're all soulless. And it's like he was made the leader because he had these visions. So it made him more susceptible to evil to take over and to try and say, you will lead this army and you will help protect.
Ooh.
It's kind of why they all rallied behind him.
Yeah.
And it's one of those same thing with the people in there. It wasn't mentioned, but it was something he actually had really wanted to do, because one of the actors had given him the idea when he told him the concept of the story. Was the guy said, gosh, this would be so cool if we actually made this about the 7 deadly sins, because you have 3 zombies in this, and you could actually make 7 zombies to cover each of the sins. And he's like, God, that's actually a really cool idea. And it would have been like each zombie would have been a representation of that and would have been slowly revealed through the film leading up to the release of his version of Evil or the Devil's Son. But it's just one of those that it would have been such a huge rewrite to the story. It would have cost so much more. And Carpenter's kind of funny about it now, because he's like, it would have been really cool, but he really, really, really wanted to return to super low budget. So that's why they're like, no, we'll just go with this.
So you're saying that each of the scientists that get possessed would be the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, it's it was one of those that, like, because like the actor said, it's like 3 of them, which he even had to mention most of the zombies were women.
Yeah.
It's like there was 3 zombies total, and he just thought, gosh, it would have been so cool if they had made them the 7 deadly sins and just had it slowly work out and progress as they were each kind of possessed and turned into one later on in the film. Which even then, it's like, I didn't know that he actually had said they were zombies in the film, but it's, again, something that Carpenter had put in the background to each of these characters. That's cool. It really is. I really like that he does that. But even outside of this film, just all the films they work on, they've always made films with people that they've worked with before or people they were friends with. And that's why he was able to keep his budget so super low. But something that carried from when he made Escape from New York and when he made Halloween was a lot of the people that they had working with them, they weren't going to get paid, and they were going to get in a lot of trouble because they weren't film actors in a guild. They weren't union.
Mm-hmm.
So what they literally went around doing, him and Deborah Hill did, was like, they would walk over and say, here, hold these cables. Like, okay. It's like, congratulations, you've now worked on a film set. It's like, now we can put you in the movie.
Yeah, oh, nice.
It's like, so they got all these people, all these jobs in film because they just went around doing this.
Nice.
It's really super cool of them.
I
But
like
yeah.
Do you wonder if Lisa Blount ever, like, was like, why am I not like Jamie Lee Curtis?
That's a good point.
Where did my stardom go?
Because that was the first movie I ever recall seeing her in at all. And, you know, I look up her IMDb credits on there, and, you know, she's had, you know, parts in movies here and there, but nothing that big. And you're right, she became both the Jamie Lee Curtis character, and towards the end, spoiler here, she kind of becomes seen as the villain. Like, she's the image that you see with the creature coming out of the church, and yeah, she would have easily been a great scream queen, but after this, yeah, she just had roles in movies, but never a like a lead role, as it were. So,
Yeah.
And that could be just her choice. Maybe she said, well, look, I like acting, but trying to be a lead in a feature is just too much work for me. Yeah, I think that was I looked at her IMDb. That was probably the only horror credit I see of her doing. So maybe she's like, I don't want to do horror anymore, because I'm pretty sure, because she's the one that sacrifices herself.
Yeah.
Because there's that moment when I'm gonna blink her name right now. The the girl who's like gonna give birth to the Antichrist.
Kelly.
Kelly, thank you. So she's standing in the mirror, and she's like reaching out to her father, and like this. I have to say, the devil in this movie, or the Antichrist, or whatever you want to call it, with that hand coming up right there. I so badly wanted that to be just some sort of Muppet. I mean, it kind of was a Muppet.
It would have been great, yeah. Oh gosh, like that. What was that movie? It was done by the guys who did Thanksgiving. The Headhunter. Gosh, I think that's it, or I'm butchering the name, but it's about a man that goes around slaying monsters, and in the end he has to rip this monster apart that's basically a Muppet head on a spine. And all it ever does is just says things like body. It is just this big Viking guy in full armor just fighting a Muppet. It's freaking hilarious. It's not meant to be, but it's hilarious.
That is amazing. No, I'm thinking like something from like the Dark Crystal.
Oh, like a Skeksis.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of being used as like the devil's arm, because I just saw like this big foam glove reaching out right there. I'm like, that's supposed to be the devil, just this little foam arm.
Honestly, when I saw that foam arm and saw how deep red and black it was and the nails were, I was expecting Tim Curry from Legend.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
I was really hoping that was going to happen.
Oh, they're going with Tim Curry's demon.
Yeah, see these like 5-foot black horns protrude from the mirror. It's like, oh, this is going to be wonderful.
I would love to have Tim Curry be the demon. Folks out there, if you have not seen Legend, fun movie, Tom Cruise, Mia Sara, yes, Tim Curry.
Tangerine Dream.
Tangerine, that's right.
Yeah.
Depending on what version you see, I think I didn't see Legend until like about a few years ago, and there was like there's the music with Tangerine Dream, and then there's another one with Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah.
I watched the one with the Jerry Goldsmith score. I have not seen the Tangerine Dream one.
It is pretty awesome. It's a trip, to say the least.
Yeah. Fantasy movie, Ridley Scott. Checked it out right there. Yeah. But here's the weird thing, too. Because and I'm going to look up her name again here, because I can do that. And I can add stuff out here if I need to. Yeah, so when you have Lisa Burnett, who sacrifices herself, that part just kind of came at random for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it did for you, but when she decides to sacrifice herself, I was like, wow, that came out of nowhere. She just throws herself at the Kelly character and is like, all right, I'm going to just dive myself into hell with these two. And I kind of wish that, I know that John Carpenter couldn't afford it, but I was expecting to see like a version of hell in a way, like kind of like you know in Hellbound, Hellraiser 2.
Oh yeah.
Where they dive into hell for some reason, and it doesn't have to be quite hell, but maybe make it so it's like a view of consumerism, like he did for They Live. Like you go into hell, and it's a mall or something like that, or something right there. I just thought the whole notion of her just sacrificing herself was just out there. Like it never really matched her character. And maybe that's just me, but she didn't do a lot of action in this movie until like quite the very end. And so it's like, I'm the hero now. It's like, good. I'm glad you want to be the hero, but why?
Well, yeah. And I do agree with you on that, because to me it's like it wasn't like, say, as impactful as the character Calder, who ended up he was coming up the stairs dragging the chair, and he's just kind of melancholy singing, and then he just kills himself. It's like he's
Amazing Grace.
Yeah, he's singing Amazing Grace. He was like he had seen way too much shit, and he's like,
he was acting his ass off.
Yeah, he was a really good actor. It's Jesse Lawrence Ferguson.
He may have been the strongest actor in the whole thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of good stuff. He was in Darkman. He was in The Presidio. He was Boys in the Hood as well. I mean, he's a really, really fun actor.
Well, you know, that scene where what's her name, Catherine is on the other side of the mirror.
Oh yeah.
And like reaching out. That and the cover for the video were all that I remembered from the movie.
Well,
those ones, I mean, they didn't flesh out hell, but it still stuck with me throughout the years.
Well, that's something I really love, and there's a book about a lot of this on Amazon I'd love to have someday. It's just something we're missing with a lot of movies today, I feel, which is just old VHS art. It's like just a lot of these images were so cool. They stuck with you. And that's why I love when I buy films like old horror films from Shout Factory or from Vinegar Syndrome. They have these two-sided slip covers for your movies. And I always turn them over to their originals. And that's how this one came as well. Because there's a slipcover that has all the characters from this movie and has the green goo. But then you turn it around, and it's the old black scene with a silhouette of a house and a face being torn, screaming, and the green goo leading to the house.
Donnie, I have the Shout Factory release of all of the seasons of Maude.
Wow.
The greatest horror ever made.
As well you should.
I agree with you. Like, it's part of it. Like, I remember being a kid and going into the video store and looking at all the horror movie covers and just being like, kind of, just letting your imagination run wild. Like, I wonder what that's about. And then you could create your own stories in your head.
Gosh, I remember being scared of the box art for The Stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because it just showed like a refrigerator opening up and this content spilled out of the fridge, and you see all these ghost creatures come out of the ground. I'm like, man, that looks freaking weird as hell. And my dad told me about the movie. Says, it's about this yogurt, you eat it and it eats you inside. I'm like, oh, that looks gnarly as hell. And then of course you watch the movie, it's not as gnarly or as scary as you thought it was going to be. And that's kind of the same thing too with Prince of Darkness, because I do recall the image of the house and that face being stretched out, and I remember the trailer with the green goo, and you're not quite sure what that is. You kind of make up stories in your head. And this is one of those John Carpenter films that I've just have never seen. I don't know why. It just sort of slipped my radar. So I am glad that you recommended it. And I do like seeing certain actors I recognize from other films. I'm like, oh, shoot, that's the main lead guy from Big Trouble in Little China, and he's playing a supporting role.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's cool. And he's doing some hero stuff in there, too. You know, he tries to, he's spying on the one girl who's given birth, and he's stuck inside this crawl space, and I totally forget how he got stuck in that crawl space to begin with.
I think he had locked himself in there because the girl, he was watching her and then she turned toward him, I think, or it was something like that had happened. But I just mostly remember that because he had the most awkward just conversations with the possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like flirting with them and telling them bad jokes. I'm like, oh my god, this is great.
Oh gosh. Well,
I loved one of his jokes in the beginning that was bad. It said, I used to break out when I was 12. Doctors said it was homosexual panic.
Oh god.
What?
Oh god. I love lines in movies, and there's some that just this one and this one, it's one of my favorite go-tos, it was between Walter and Brian, where Walter was like, why is everybody looking at me this way? And Brian's like, because you're being asshole-ish.
Oh,
so
no.
I was like, well, it's very asshole-ish of you to say so. Like, oh, that's great.
God.
I was just thinking, like, he better live.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't care about anybody else. I just want him to live.
I agree with that too, Linda. And I'm glad you did. So yeah, she mentioned too the music by Carpenter and Alan Horwath is good. I like this as well. Cinematography, he does not use Dean Cundey to shoot this one. I used a guy named Gary Kibbe, who also shot They Live and his version of Village of the Damned, as well as Escape from L.A. I know that because after he did Christine, John Carpenter wanted to get away from horror, so he directed Starman.
Yeah.
And then Big Trouble in Little China, and Big Trouble in Little China, like we said, was a box office bomb, and then he does The Prince of Darkness, and then after Prince of Darkness, I think he just goes straight from Prince of Darkness to They Live.
Yeah. And They Live was kind of like his middle finger to most of Hollywood, as well as Reaganism and a lot of consumerism.
Yeah.
Donnie can verify my Animal Crossing. My whole island is full of the signs that say buy and consume. Sleep.
There's another Carpenter film. I'm looking at his filmography here, and of his early ones, there's still a movie on here that I still need to watch because I never finished it. That is Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love springing it on people. Like, he directed that? Like, yeah, he did. He actually did a lot more than just horror and the stuff. He actually did some pretty good. Well, even that, it's pretty good, but again, it didn't really do that well at the box office. But it was still a kind of fun take on the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
But even I think it was the very first film he worked with Kurt Russell on was for a TV movie on Elvis. And I believe that also you can get through Scream or Shout Factory. I think they put it out on DVD finally.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I just, we're going to get to the end here of our show, but I just find it great, Donnie, that of all the Carpenter flicks to choose, you chose Prince of Darkness. I wasn't, first time watching it, I wasn't, high up on it, as I'm sure I would have been if I saw it back in the 80s or so. I still admire the hell out of it. I thought the makeup effects were really great. It has some, really great in-camera special effects. I love the fact, too, that all the special effects were done in camera, because they couldn't afford to do it in post. So the sequence of the one guy standing out in the distance, and he's got all the bugs on him, that must have taken a lot of time to put the bugs together. And I love the voice right there. It's like, I have a message for you. You're not gonna like it. I can't. The voice he has is just super creepy. I can't do it justice at all.
It really is.
But I do ask you this, Donnie. I mean, what makes you want to like? What would you say to recommend this movie to people that have never seen it before? I mean, how would you sell this movie?
That's why I love it, because it's a hard sell, because there's been people that I've talked to that said, oh yeah, I've seen it. And even when it came out, they had this reaction. So don't feel that you were alone. Some of them, they just fell asleep during it, because they're like, it's so long. There's so much dialogue before anything really happens that they're just like, okay, wake me up when something happens, or they just turn it off after 25, 30 minutes. And then there's some people that are just like, they love it up until the end, because they don't like how he just leaves things to your imagination to go, does he touch the mirror? Does he go through? Does something happen? Does it not? And I just try to sell it to people as the best way I could find out of it, which is think about a horror movie that deals with good and evil, but it does so from a scientific point of view. And that's actually how I got my fiance to watch it, because she has never seen a lot of horror films. Like, she really hasn't seen any at all. And to try and sell this to her, that was the only way I could, because she's very much about science and facts. And as soon as I told her this has quantum mechanics, it's got science in this, trying to disprove evil when they know it is evil. And they're trying to do so that they can prove to people that if this is evil, we need to be scared shitless. Like, okay, I'll give it a try. And it's just, I like that, plus telling people it's one of his lesser known, because whenever people try to recommend John Carpenter, they almost always go to Escape from New York, They Live, and Carrie, or I'm sorry, not Carrie, Christine, and Halloween. Yeah, it's just, it really kind of gets buried in all these other films of his that he's done. And at the same time, I love it, because whenever people talk about his worst films, they usually mention like Ghost of Mars. When they talk about his best ones, it's either Halloween or They Live, but they never ever really put Prince of Darkness in either category,
because they don't know about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I like it, because it's kind of like being in high school, being that one kid that listens to, like I did, Ozzy Osbourne, and then suddenly the Osbourne show comes out and everyone's into it, and you're like, I was into this before all of you were.
Sure. I get that. Yeah. You want to mention John Carpenter's deep cuts.
Ooh.
And most people don't really consider Prince of Darkness to be most people would put it like together a John Carpenter best of, Escape from New York. Halloween would be on the top of their The Thing. That would be like the three movies that most people recognize John Carpenter for. But yeah, I thought that I was never bored watching it. I did like the fact I like being confused in movies and not knowing exactly what was going on. And I like the characters in this one, but to me, they were just all the same. Like, this person is possessed, and then this person, there was not one character that stood out. That's what I really need to have with Jack Burton. I want this to be the sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. Just, you don't even have to call him Jack Burton. I just want to see Kurt Russell, Maitland's night comments in the movie. And I have Dan Dunn character go, come on, Jack, we're not studying this green goo. Like, you see green goo here once, you see it everywhere, or just something like that.
Just have him, just at the dream everyone has of the broadcast, just have him appear in the church shooting the dark figure.
Yeah.
Just walking like, what's going on? Where am I? Oh, okay, I guess I'm here now.
I'd settle for him being the voice of the green goo.
Yeah.
Tell yourself like here, pilgrims, I'm this green goo here. I'm the embodiment of all evil.
I'm on CB radio.
If he could play sexy Santa, then what can't he do?
Devil character, come on now.
That's still something I really, really enjoy is Kurt Russell had asked Carpenter what of his characters he played in his films did he find was the greatest character, his favorite character. And Carpenter said that his favorite character he's ever played was Captain Ron.
I think I heard that.
It's like I said in your films, not those films. That's why I know. I just love you as Captain Ron.
Yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think I heard that.
Yeah.
I think I heard that on the Big Trouble in Little China commentary track.
Oh, I still need to listen because I've listened to so many of these things, and that's another thing I was going to say as well as a Cell. And I had to think about this with you as well, because I've really not gotten to talk a lot with people on podcast about my love of Carpenter, but more specifically The Thing. It's like I own the freaking Mondo board game they put out as a very limited release of The Thing, and I have a artist poster of The Thing right in front of me, and it's one of those films I have obsessed over, I love, and it's one of the first films of his that I show to people. But again, it's like I could talk for days about that film, but Prince of Darkness even more so, because again, not many people know about it. So it's just such a funner experience, I think, because everyone has such different reactions to it. Whereas with The Thing, a majority of people end up loving it. And the Prince of Darkness, however, it's more you get discussions from, because like you said, it either confuses you, you get tired with it, or you end up going, that was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, it put together like a lot of concepts I never thought about for horror. I love the fact that they tried to do like a scientific approach to fighting evil. It was different. I just didn't like some of the main characters. I just wanted there to be more there.
Even for like people that love music, because like his usual films, Carpenter scored this. This is one of the few films of his he did, because it was on a small budget, that you can actually tell how he scores the film. That his method is, whenever he does the music, is he scores it scene by scene once he's going in the studio and starts doing mixes for it.
Oh, sure.
So he doesn't actually enter with the theme in mind. He just kind of does little music pieces for each individual thing that's going on. Then if he comes onto a theme, then he just kind of latches onto it and carries it through. But even as it's very, compared to like his other music scores he did for films, this is a very kind of subtle throughout until unholiness starts happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like a big bombastic score or like a main theme going on there. It's all very like atmospheric.
Yeah, exactly.
I know before COVID, he was touring for a while, just playing music. Yeah,
that's what he's doing now. He loves making music, and I believe his father was a musician / music teacher, and he actually loves playing video games, and more specifically, he loves the Fear video games from way back when.
Oh, nice.
And he did voice work for Fear 3, and I think he did a couple tracks. But more than that, he has been wanting, he said if he ever came back to directing, he would love to do a Dead Space movie. Because that was one of his favorite horror games ever. And
he'd be great for that.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that would just be prime material, but studios don't want to touch him because Ghost of Mars just left a really bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Well, I like the fact, too, that John Carpenter is even doing some work with, like, comic books. I picked up comic books from the library, which is like a collaboration with him and other writers doing, like, an anthology of horror stories, and that's been kind of, like, fun to read. So I love the fact, too, that John Carpenter is still staying busy. He's doing, like, tours, doing, like, albums right now. I'm like, good on him. He's doing his own work, and he's doing stuff that makes him happy. Great. If he never makes another movie again, fine. I mean, he still does other stuff right now. I still got other movies to remember him for, Plus, the guy made some of the greatest movies of all time. So, I mean, he doesn't need to prove himself anymore, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I still love watching on TV whenever it pops on Body Bags. Just the little horror stories he hosted as sort of the crypt keeper in that. He's a great guy. It's hilarious.
And there was a comic book based on Big Trouble Little China too.
I have read that. There's one called Old Man Jack, which takes place many years after.
And they're actually doing a remake of it too.
Ooh.
But Dwayne Johnson is supposed to be playing the lead role, but Carpenter was very specific about this when they talked about the remake. It's not going to be The Rock as Jack Burton. It's like Jack Burton exists. This character is going to be a totally different person. So he wants kind of a continuation in that universe. He doesn't want it to be a direct remake.
And I just hope they don't make. I like the fact. I hope they like advertise like The Rock to be like the main star, but not have him be the star at all.
Yeah.
It would be a great twist.
Which would be just so great. People go, oh, I'm going to see The Rock in the movie, and just have like some no-name actor be like the star lead.
Yeah, kind of like they did with Godzilla when they were selling it that Bryan Cranston was going to be the main star in that film, and he's only in it for like 10 minutes.
And he dies right away, yeah. Oh, sorry, spoiler for a movie that's old now, but yeah. Well, Linda, what were your thoughts about Prince of Darkness?
You know, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a little slow going at first, with the long ass opening credits. But once they get into it, it's fun. And I feel like there was some strong acting in there, although I felt that the leads were a little weak, but
yeah. Maybe it was just like the concept they're trying to sell, like, oh, this evil Gru's gonna come out right there, but like, yeah, and maybe the Prince of Darkness did influence Ghostbusters too, because they're saying, hey, evil Gru, bad Gru, we can turn this into something here, folks. We got money here, all right.
Yeah.
Vigo.
People love Gru.
Yes, once the goo became exposed to the air, it turned pink. That's what happened.
Yes. So John Carpenter influenced Ghostbusters 2, which was kind of a bomb.
Yeah.
It did alright, Ghostbusters 2, and then, we had reboot after reboot. I don't know, but yes. There you go. Well, my thought stands for Prince of Darkness is that interesting movie. I love the makeup effects in this. It's got a great story. It actually does have a very interesting storyline, and I do love how the story unfolds. I thought the characters just made some really bad choices, but I expect that in a horror film. It's a movie that I think really wanted to be deep in its presence and its premise, but it kind of failed a bit on its execution. But this movie, it's not a bad movie. I know like a lot of people consider this to be one of John Carpenter's best. For me personally, I probably wouldn't go that far. But if friends want to watch it again, I would watch it again. I would have no problem doing so right there. So out of 5 stars, I'm gonna give Prince of Darkness about 3.
That's respectable.
Do you feel like if he did it today and had a big budget, do you feel like it would have been better or it would have hurt it?
No, this movie you don't really need to have a big budget at all. It doesn't have to need like any special effects. I kind of wish you would have just tweaked up the script a little bit to make the characters more engaging and more likable for me.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's fine. That was it. That was
understand.
So out of what would you rate this movie there, Donnie?
I would say 3.5, 4. I mean, a hard 3.5, because again, it's one of those. It's like it's not one I'm gonna go, oh man, I haven't seen it in a while, I gotta pop it in. But it's one of those, if it's on TV, I'll watch it, and then I just have to be in a mood for it, and I'll put it on. But if it's any of his other films, it's like, I just pop it in whenever.
Yeah. If there ever, if you said there was a Shout Factory DVD of this one. If there's a commentary track, I would be curious to watch the commentary track, because I find commentary tracks for movies that don't do so well to be a lot more fun than ones that have done well.
There is. There's a couple interviews with Carpenter, and there's a commentary track with him and Peter Jason.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's why it's really fun, because you get a lot of interesting behind-the-scenes stuff, like the actor Peter Jackson actually, he had really hurt himself on set when he went and tried running toward that door and busted open.
Oh, jeez.
He legitimately did almost break his arm, and it was pretty hilarious, apparently.
And it stick with him for decades. The pain.
Yeah. But it's really worth it, and it's in a 4K, and they even have Shout Factory. I'm not trying to sell them, but for Carpenter
this
films,
show is sponsored by Shout Factory.
Yeah.
Shout Factory, give us money.
Amazing amazing
or give
releases.
us DVDs. Give DVDs to us in Cage of Kiss.
You can get Maude, the whole complete series.
Tell us more, Linda.
That's the only thing you want to do. Just do it for Maude. But it's like I think it's like $60 or $70, but all of Carpenter's films they've been re-releasing in 4K. They come in this like special packaging, and it has a 7-inch LP that includes either never before released tracks specifically from those films that Carpenter picked, or it's just tracks like the main title. Like so far I have the Prince of Darkness, They Live, and Big Trouble in Little China. But it's also one of those because, like I said, I love his films. The Arrow Video over in the UK released all of his films, or at least the top 4, on 4K. And the sets they gave you with that gave you like these huge booklets, about 4 discs each, of bonus material and extras on everything you could ever want to know about these films. And it's wonderful if you have a region-free player, or I guess a console like a Xbox or a PlayStation 4 or 5 that can play those and not care, because as far as I know, 4K is still region-free, but Blu-ray, not so much.
Yeah, see, I've got a region-free player, and I've got a few Arrow releases, and my Blu-ray player acts weird. Like sometimes it works for some discs, and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm not going to take them back. I'm going to keep those, and I'm sure I'll find a player that I don't need to put in some special code to make it work. So I gotta research Blu-ray players to find one that's region-free all the time, so I don't have to like put in special like color codes or whatnot in there. But Linda, if you were to rate Prince of Darkness, what would you rate it as out of 5?
I'd have to say a 3 because there was one likable character that you could cling on to.
It was Alice Cooper, right? It was the Homeless Brigade.
It's like, just kill them all, Alice.
Yeah.
The Homeless Brigade is one character.
I mean, they just want to put together a good show, and all these scientist nerds were just messing up their vibe, man.
But yeah, I also got a special regional player because there were a couple British shows that I wanted to watch and had to get that special one. But I don't know, guys. Like it was a good story. I love the movies that leave a lot for your imagination, because I feel like the scariest thing that they could have in a movie is, well, literally the scariest thing you can think of. So I enjoy movies like Cloverfield and Cloverfield Project and Blair Witch, You Can Hate Me All You Want, and this movie, because they do that, because they leave a lot to the imagination. But like I was saying before, that moment where she's on the other side of the mirror after Father Loomis breaks the mirror, it's a haunting image, and it's just kind of stuck with me for all these decades.
Understandable.
So, yeah. It's a 3.
I like that. So our total together probably basically would be about like a 4. So yes, solid recommendation for John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. It's a good movie. Maybe not one of his best, but still, if you've seen all the other John Carpenter films and you want to like reach out and see more, then yeah, Prince of Darkness would be a definitely good shot there. Well, that's going to end our conversation here about talking about Prince of Darkness. I want to thank my guests, Linda and Donnie from Cage's Kiss. Of course, you can follow them on the Twitter sphere at Cage's Kiss, and you go to the website cageskiss.com. Maybe you can anything else you want to plug right now, Donnie, Linda?
I would also like to plug Numi for the amazing Numi 2.0 intelligent toilet again. It is
intelligent toilet.
It has lights. It's a smartphone. It's a smart toilet. It may even charge wirelessly your phone while you're pooping, for all I know.
Ooh.
Look us up, Numi. You can support us.
Please do. Otherwise, I am Unreal Goals on Twitter. I'm also, as Laverne said, part of the voice actors cast for the amazing Night of the Living Dead they did. I'm also with Cage's Kiss, of course, and I also have Wisdom in the Bottle, which I have this series on YouTube under Unreal Goals as well. And as usual, I'm also the boy who blew on Pornhub. It is real. Yes. Do you want to follow me? Please never do. And yeah, that's all I got cooking up right now at the time.
And besides Cage's Kiss, I have Bedknobs and Broomflicks, where we cover witches and stories of all formats. And we just covered the Blair Witch Project with Wayne from Florida Man on Florida Man, and that was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Very cool indeed. Yes, please, by all means, follow them, listen to the show. Numi Toilets here. I'm going to reach out to you to do some, ad spots for Cage's Kiss, all right?
I'm thinking of all this work that, we just created for myself. I got to reach out to Shout Factory. I got to reach out to Numi.
Oh, no, I'm going to reach out there as well. But, hey, look, check out Cage's Kiss, Shout Factory. Come on, I want a combination of, Shout Factory do an ad spot for Numi for Cage's Kiss, or,
Yes, if you pay for the Numi 2.5, you get the 4K projector in the back of the toilet seat. That hooks up directly to your Shout Factory account.
Oh, my God. Oh, amazing year. Wow.
Please don't sue us, Numi or Shout Factory, for delivering empty promises.
So, this episode is appearing on our Patreon page a week or so before everyone else gets it. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get this episode early in advance. Gotta say a big thank you to our Patreon subscribers here. Gotta first of all thank Donnie for being a $10 Patreon tier. Appreciate that so much, Donnie. Gotta thank Matt and Ashley from Mashley at the Movies. Thank you very much for your support. Gotta thank Jason Soto from Whatever with Jason Soto. Thank you very much for your support, Jason. Check out his guest spot on our main page, talking about Requiem for a Dream, as well as him being one of our voice actors for Night of the Living Dead. And then we also got to thank Jeanette Miller-Mickenham, found on Twitter at aka Jeanette. Thank you very much for being a continued supporter of our show as well. You heard her recently on our De Palma December series talking about Dress to Kill. She also played the role of Barbara on our Night of the Living Dead audio drama, so that was a lot of fun. I plan to do more of those in the future, but I keep getting hit up with these other projects, and it's really stopping me from continuing with that. But I will soon, but damn it, I need money, so I'm just taking on projects here and there. But yes, by all means, go to our website, cinemarecall.net. You can find most of our shows through other places such as Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, anywhere you can find podcasts. We're found on Twitter at cinema_recall. Our Patreon is patreon.com/cinemarecallpod. I'm the Vern. I'm going to go find more about these Numi toilets so I can have an awesome rave job, because that's what I need right now in my life. Thank you, Donnie and Linda, for recommending great ways for me to shit in the toilet here, and I love it dearly. But yes, safe night, everyone.
Good night, Satan.
Satan. Hail Satan.
Good night. And hail Satan.
Hail Satan, everybody.